Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to another episode of the Onsite and Offshore podcast. I'm your host Suresh Ashok, founder of Matsya Infotech with a passion for selling and supporting offshoring projects, where we chat with business owners and professionals involved in offshoring initiatives and also connect with entrepreneurs who outsource the work to India. Today on the Onsite and Offshore podcast, we're joined by Jagan Selvaraj, CEO of Entrans Technologies, and Aditya Santanam, CEO and CTO of Infisign. Jagan specializes in digital transformation and cloud computing, leading Entrance Technologies to provide practical tech solution. And Aditya focuses on decentralized identity, IAM, AI, and automation at Infisign, solving problems across industry. Both have strong expertise in offshore development and global tech leadership. Looking forward to hearing their insight today. Welcome to the show, Aditya and Jagan. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, doing well, Suresh. Thank you so much.
Hey Suresh, we are doing great. Thanks for having a discussion in Saturday evening.
Well, thank you so much. You guys are taking your time out of your busy schedule. I know both are very busy individuals. So it means a lot to me. Thank you so much. As we always do, ask our guest the one question, which I always start with. Can you both share when you were exposed to working with international client and what was the initial experience like for each of you?
Yeah, from my side, I finished my college in 2005, and but I had a passion to start my own company, right? And I have always this question, right? When to start, where to start, how to start. Always, we have a first starting problem, right? What I did is, initially, like what I did is I started axing, sharpening my axe in the sense learning technology. Then I was implementing it for while I'm working. Then I know that this is my right skill. Then what I did is I started approaching to US customers. That's when I thought, okay, we can make a good money, or like we can make a big impact. Then I started emailing them, hey, I am skilled at this technology. Do you have any work on doing any development of for your website, like that? And I started emailing 100 people, and then I got first response, and that was my first customer. I started as a freelancer, and that customer was developing a point of sale system where we used to work, and I used to work in the night and develop that system for him. And then we have to deploy it in all the supermarkets in US. So we got to discuss with a lot of people who are much educated, also like people who are working in the supermarket stores. So that was a great learning for me. And we should ping the supermarket customers and say that, hey, we have a update coming in, you want to update it, like that. And I'll ping them, and then on their free time they'll leave the point of sale, because point of sale is always a busy. So we have to communicate with them in such a way that they are very accommodative in getting the updates in, and helping you to making sure that that software is running successfully. So that was my first experience.
Wow, that was long back, right? I mean, from what you're saying, you started directly out of your college and
Yeah,
got an
it is
opportunity to work
in 2007.
2007. Okay. And what
Yeah.
motivated you to do that? Because uh, looking at your career, how you started, that was pretty risky, right? Because you didn't get any exposure to work for any particular organization. If you'd have done that, at least you'd have gained some knowledge about international market as well as working for overseas client. But directly, jumping into setting up your, working as a freelancer. I mean, where did this confidence come from, Jagan?
See, going back, right? So I have always had this philosophy, when the opportunity comes to you, just grab it and give your best. Don't worry about the result. Learning matters, result doesn't. So result is just a byproduct of our hard work and our smart work. So I always have this philosophy in my mind. So in my schoolings, I used to dream to go to USA. So that was my only dream, like in my school, I should go to US when I finish my college. So now my dream is all set. Like I came from a village background. Then like from Nazareth, Trichandur to Chennai, I came for college. And in my college, when we started our college, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam has, given a very bold statement to all the youngsters, to dream, and to dream about India to become a superpower by 2020. So that really triggered me. Okay, let me dream for India. And what that dream is, right, to make sure that India achieves a superpower. From my side, what is my contribution to the dream? Then told, like, let me dream that I should have 100 employees by 2020 under me. So that is the contribution for me to Abdul Kalam and for India becoming a superpower. So without any background, a rural guy dreaming about giving 100 people employment in 2001 was really not a practical thing, but that was my dream. But that drove me to start a company. And so, like, once you keep dreaming, right, you will, your each and every action will go towards it. So that's the trigger point for me.
Interesting, Jagan. Do you know that my father's native is Trichandur? That's the first
Oh,
temple I visited. You know the famous Murugan temple in Trichandur?
yeah.
Yeah, that's my father's
Great.
native as well. And how about you, Aditya? I mean, by the way, this is the first time I'm hosting two people in the session.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's always been an individual. So yeah, so Aditya, what about your story? When did you get first exposure to international audience?
Yeah. So, I would probably, mark my experience in two stages of my life, right? So, the first stage was again like what Jagan was also mentioning. It was probably straight out of college, but I was again working for a big MNC, which was IBM at that particular point. And so at that particular point of time, when you directly start getting into a project, number one, working with large MNCs as clients and having to deliver a particular project and having to explain was slightly intimidating at the very beginning. But something that I realized when I began my career was, knowledge basically has got, no, what is it, no bounds as, when it comes to language and all of that, right? So that was when, I started understanding the power of knowledge, at a very beginning stage, and that was very, empowering for me, because that is something that no one actually teaches in our educational system, right? Of course, you learn programming, you learn all of that, but then when you start communicating, a particular solution to a particular problem for any particular project, that's when people start taking a notice of you, right? So that is the first experience that I had. And the second stage of experience, would be probably when we began business, right, together. And then we started off Entrans and then Infisign. And we started interacting with our client, because at that particular point of time, it is a completely different story, right? So you become pretty much the owner of that particular project, and they look up to you for credibility, because it's quite a very different experience when you have a big brand behind you backing whatever you do. uh, when it is like a starting stage of a company, and then you basically are the brand that you represent. And at that particular point of time, something that I would probably tell people who are venturing in the same direction, stay extremely confident, and you have to be a master of your craft, right? And there should be, so for example, when I probably started off in the identity, I was not an expert, right, of identity. But I remember pretty much, buying different books, listening to podcasts, reading so many materials almost every single day. So I understand every single jargon. I understand every single tech out there. I used to play around with so many open source libraries. So at that particular point of time, when you begin your own journey and you start working with international clients, international or regional does not matter, because when you represent your own brand, you have to be a master of the craft, is what I've learned. And I've worked for all these years, Suresh.
Yeah, and who was the first client, Aditya?
When it comes to my own this thing,
No, when you started your career, you said you started
okay,
your career in IBM, right?
that was British Petroleum.
All right, and what was your role in that?
So I was an associate software engineer.
Right, and when did you guys get together in setting up Entrans and Infisign?
Okay,
I
this
mean, either one can take it up. I mean, I don't have any problem.
yeah,
Both can share your stories.
absolutely. I'll probably give a quick background of how we met, and then we'll go from there. So, for me, it was I worked with big brands, and then I was about to get into Deloitte in technology consulting, and at that particular point of time, I wasn't very happy with what Deloitte was offering and stuff, and that's when I was inclining more towards startups because of how exciting things were at that particular point, because that's when blockchain, analytics, data science, this was back in 2014, 15, right? So that's when all of this, we had so much to play around with tech. Never before in our history we had so much of technologies to play around with, right? So that was probably the best time to be with a startup, and that's when I got a call from Jagan. And ever since then, it's almost been 10 years of working together. And then I got into Jagan's company, and then that company was acquired by TBS. And ever since, right from the point we met, we've always been experimenting with new technologies. And one such new technology is what ventured into Entrans and Infisign.
Right. And Jagan, do you want to add on to that?
Yeah, definitely, right. So one of my greatest finding, or in my like my breakthrough is finding Aditya, right? So
you're,
when you are
you're
running a
you're
company.
you're you're saying that on purpose, like just to impress Aditya, or you really mean it?
I'll give it like an example, right? Like you are running a company with 80 employees at the time. So
Right.
at the time, Aditya was maybe around 2 or 3 years experienced. I'm not sure. So at the time, he came in, and when we started working together, I noticed like something different with this guy, and I started trusting him, and giving him huge works, like that is impossible works. If something comes in, I used to push it to Aditya, and he will crack it, and he will deliver it, and the client will always be very appreciative. So then like whenever like any impossible works comes in, Aditya is the go-to guy. And at that time I decided, like if I'm going to start another company, so definitely Aditya is going to be part of it. So from my point, life is all about or entrepreneurship is all about connecting the missing dots. So what is dot is missing for me is Aditya is one of my missing dot, right? So like we if I connect that dot, we both can easily complement each other. So that's the way we look at each other. I have a lot of disadvantages, and Aditya might have a lot of disadvantages, but we complement each other, and we play around each other's strengths. So that is taking us to the next level. So that's what my learning in this Suresh.
Right. And both of you have extensive experience now in managing offshore teams. How do you ensure smooth communication and collaboration between onshore and offshore teams? Do you have any specific methods or tools that work particularly well?
Yeah, so I'll probably add on to this, and I think Jagan can also add. I mean, from what I've seen, Suresh, is especially when you're running a product, right, and you basically have multiple modules, and you want to delegate these modules across your teams, whether onshore, on-site, or offshore. So you basically will have to have a very strong process in hand, because people usually discount how important a particular process is, at least at the very beginning. They think it's cool to basically be lean and not have a process, but it's exactly the opposite, right? So what I've seen is, if you have the right tools these days, probably have the right boards on Jira, have the right stories written there, because as a product, when you're building a product especially, you need to have the vision, and that vision has to be broken down into proper stories. And once that is done, and once those stories are in place and you've broken down all those stories into proper sprints, and once you have the right communication medium, for example, for us, Jira and Slack are are like the best tools that we currently use. And if you use them right, I think, be it managing offshore or on site, it is going to be seamless for you, right? And of course, you basically will have to be on top of it, and it is very, very, very important for someone to set the right vision, right? So this is my experience, right? So I usually think of, I usually begin my day getting this messaging right for my product. And this has actually helped me, it has actually helped me be more agile, have a track of everything that I do, and have visibility as to what is done, what is not done. And it also tells me if I'm headed in the right direction as a leader, right? So this is something that I follow day in and day out.
Right. And can you just walk us through in detail about the process you have, especially managing offshore development work? For example, you got the order, the contract is signed, and what are the next steps involved, and automated steps involved, like for the till the
Okay. So I'll also let Jagan lead this, but
right.
for me, the minute I get the contract, as I started before, it is to set the right planning, right? So in fact, at Entrans, we spend a lot of time on discovery, especially for fixed bid kind of projects, right? So we spend a good amount of time, a month or month and a half, just for planning, right? So the reason why that is very important is, someone's given you the vision in this case, right? It's not a product, it's a service. And at that particular point, you have to go into the details, right? You have to go into each and every line item, understand what is the skill set that you need for delivering that line item. How are you going to deliver it? What does it take at each levels of the architecture, front end, middleware, back end, whatever is the level. So you have to get into each level of detail, and then basically start understanding what teams to onboard, from where are you going to onboard, who's going to be leading it. So that is how we normally look at, right, Suresh. So it is extremely critical for us to do the planning right, because once you do the planning right, the team, the management for that particular team is all going to fall in place. That is completely my belief, and it is something that has worked for me all these years. I'll also let Jagan give his comments on this as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Jagan. And so, can you add an example of a client, like what was the scope of work, and how did it work with the process you have?
Yeah. So I predominantly work
Jagan,
with my.
you want to add?
So how we started is, for example, one of our customer, like he came to us with a high level problem statement that like they have data from multiple sources. That's a retail customer. They have data from multiple sources, which includes traditional mainframe systems, and also they have data in ERPs, Oracle Business Suite, NetSuite, kind of an very traditional environments. And they wanted a visualization layer to be in place, but they wanted a unified visualization layer. So this is the high level pain point they brought in. Then we as a team had gone in and had done an initial study with them, and tried to have a brainstorming session with each of their functional teams. And we started capturing the requirements, what is their existing system, and how, what is the type of data they are holding it. And then from there we were able to collect all those things, and then we given a detailed proposal in such a way that along with the architecture, um, in such a way that we given a 1 year roadmap, in such a way that like you can able to achieve these KPIs at the end of your implementation. So what that means is my pre-sales team, along with my technical architect and my business analyst, has conveyed that we have promised something to the customer, and documented it, and signed a SOW, and we closed the deal. And now it is closed, right? Now it has to be transferred to our development team. So from this stage, Aditya and his team take over that and go in detail again for one more month with the customer and detail it out. In a high level, we have defined the goals, and from that they will detail it out and prepare a detailed SRS documentation, BRD, FRD, API documentation, DB design, end-to-end UI UX flows. All these things they will define, and they will give a blueprint to the customer, and they will request for sign off. So what this phase is, we call it as very crucial phase. Only reason because is, this is the phase where we all will miss out to start the project in a hurry without any planning. So we will take this quality time and make sure that we are capturing everything, and everything is frozen. And then if we push it to the team for the agile development planning, so that's where we have seen success in very complex and large projects.
Right, fantastic. So, what I understood was you guys invest lots of time before signing the contract and discovery session, then planning, then allocating resource for that particular project, before jumping into the development work.
Yeah, so I would like to add, right? That is one of our USP in our business model. Our USP is to give more value to the customer before they sign any contract with us. So what
Right.
that means is, our customer can get, at least I would say $20,000 to $30,000 worth of consulting effort, um, uh, before they get the project done, or before they allocate the budget into the project, right?
Right.
So what that means is, it goes with this philosophy, right? So first, you have to give in any kind of relationship, and
Right.
you have to understand business is all about building a relationship, not like it's like giving a money, taking the money. It is not like that. It is a building the relationship. So to build a relationship, first thing we have to learn is to give. So
Right.
that is what we used to do, and we give the value that okay, this is the organization which is very selfless, and they care about me. For example, as a CTO, of that, if the customer should feel, hey, as a CTO, this company is the right company that can deliver my problem, because they think in my shoes, and they own my problem and deliver it for me. So that is the confidence we will give to every customer. That is why we were able to retain all our customers in a relationship model.
Absolutely, Jagan. And that also gives your customer enough time to understand your team as well as your skill set and your working culture, and also the commitment you have given to the particular project even before the actual client started investing in the project.
Exactly, like we think it like this, right? So we do dating with the customer, right? We do dating with the customer, no commitment, but we give everything, and customer feel us, explore us. And then once they are okay, this is the guy, who can take us, who we can work with us for at least for 2 years or 3 years, then like we go into the commitment mode. So till that time, we'll be very open, giving all our best. And even if it is not turning out, we don't have any regret. Like we keep constantly stay in touch with the customer, because the customer will have the guilt to give the other project, next project to us, because these guys has done too much to us. Okay,
Yeah.
why can't I give one more project to them?
Absolutely fantastic. Good to know that. And that's a very good policy you have, without even expecting anything in the initial stages or taking any advance. You guys go full fledged the moment there is a challenge at the client's place or even a potential client, and do your research, investigation, and provide a high level blueprint or a scope. This is what, we can deliver it. That's fantastic. Very good to know, Jagan. And could you share a challenge from your early career that had a lasting impact on how you approach your work today? And also, how did you overcome that challenges, shape your perspective as a leader and entrepreneur?
Yeah. So
Now, for example, let me add to that. For example, you've spoken about all successful projects you have implemented. Anything in the early stages of your career where it was a failed attempt, the client was very unhappy with the process you had, and then you had to implement certain steps to overcome those challenges?
Yeah. So I will take this up question, from my starting of my career, right?
Right.
So when you start your career, like as a fresher, like a new person to coming into business, we always think that, world revolves around me. What that means is, I am the only person available in the company and I should do every task. So that is the first mistake every person used to do, right? Like it is always good to do for the first project. Then I started realizing that single man work is not going to happen. So that is when like teamwork is what started learning. Okay, I need to have my own team. So that is when I started my first co-founder. He's my schoolmate and my classmate, my close friend. Then like we both joined and started delivering a project. But at that time, then we found that okay, this should not be dependent on two people. And now we started hiring. So like you have to invest your money and hire brilliant people than you to do the task. And then you just delegate the task. So that is when we started building leaders. And once we started building leaders, you invest your money and building leaders. That's it. Like that will help you to overcome any challenges which is coming into the projects. So that's how we navigated all our challenges happened in our projects after that.
Fantastic. Anything to add, Aditya, on that from
Yes,
your side?
Suresh. I think plus one to what Jagan said as well. For me, again, the biggest learning is to delegate. Right. I think that is something that you do not learn when you begin, but eventually you start understanding delegating is the only way for you to progress, right? So that is a definite plus one for me as well. And the second one is especially considering most of our upbringing and all of that. What happens is there's a lot of inferiority complex that kind of kicks in, right? Especially for me, I had a lot of, I mean, for me to basically come out, project my ideas at the very beginning of my career, I used to be very, what to say, I used to be a lot more shy, and I used to not come and speak out my ideas. But it did happen like in one project where I spoke my mind, and then I started getting recognition after that, right? So something that I learned, to basically apply till date was to never be afraid or never think your ideas are far too low from what someone wants or someone wants you to project, because you should never you should never look down on your ideas, right? So this is something that I tell everyone in my team: no matter how good or bad you think your ideas are, just speak out your ideas, because you can never go wrong for sharing, right? So that is something that I learned. It was a challenge before, which I worked on, and it has helped immensely for us, because I still remember. I think me and Jagan walked up to one of the largest insurance provider in the world, and we spoke to them about artificial intelligence, exactly like what GPT is talking. I mean, what GPT is doing today. We spoke about it, I think, in 2017, I guess. I'm not very sure about the year. I think 2017 or 18. I'm not very sure, but we spoke to them then, right? So that was how wild our thoughts were, and thoughts are still. But and this has come out only because of what we were able to understand about what ideas can do, and that is exactly what Jagan was talking about. He gave an anecdote about Abdul Kalam. I think that's something that's inspired all of us, Suresh.
Right. And Jagan, I completely agree with you. Delegating work and finding the right team members for that. Because for a long period, even I had the same problem. Like, being in sale, I used to do just everything, like, data mining, email
Yeah.
campaign, then cold calling, then going on the meeting. And trust me, it never worked. Kind of, you go through a point, like, where you feel saturated. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm done with it. I need to do something else as well. So over the years, even I started, investing in resources and building a team on that. So that's a very valuable piece of advice. So anyone who's in business who thinks that he can do all, it never works out. You need to have a proper team in place, proper team, hire resources, dedicated for that particular skill set as well. And
Yeah.
also, can you each talk about your company's growth journey? What have been some of the key milestone or defining moments in scaling your business? Because what I also had, I mean, you guys know it. Like, I had a call with Kapil as well. He was a guest in the last episode. He said, like, guys started with very small, and now the team is close to 450 plus.
Yeah.
So yeah, so what's the growth journey about? Can you
So
explain?
I'll put it in a different perspective, right? So 2008, I started my first company. To reach 120 employees, it took nearly 8 years for me to grow to 120 employees without any external funding in bootstrap manner. So it took 8 years to grow to 120 employees. But then we got an exit. Then we have learned that I am missing, like with two founders, we were able to make to 120 employees, and we were missing the piece of sales, enterprise sales, and we were missing the piece of finance, the knowledge in the corporate finance, and we are missing the in the HR space, where how to like when you grow, like how to handle the human resource and all the process in place. So like we were missing in that. Only thing we know well is doing technology. Rest of the other things were missing dots in our life. And also like a pure tech, core tech innovator, that's one of the part who can able to crack the new technology and bring in a newer technologies faster into the organization. So these are some of the missing pieces that we had. So what we did is, when we started our other company, our new company in 2020, we make sure that we have all the co-founders in place in such a way that we have around 5 co-founders in this company right now, where like one is focusing on technology, one is focusing on delivery, and one is focusing on the strategy and the operations, and other one is focusing on in the enterprise sales, and other one is focusing on the finance. So this way, in 4 years, we were able to reach to 450 employees. But when compared to this, it's a 8-year journey for reaching 120 employees. With our learning and our the missing puzzles, with all the connected dots, we were able to achieve this. And like within this 4 years, we were able to achieve 50 plus customers, and in that 2 Fortune 500 customers. And we have built successfully, like the Indian office. Our Indian office is in a very premium IT park. And also in US we have around 50 employees working over there. That also like is our key establishment. With zero prior knowledge in US, US direct employment, we were able to achieve that within these 4 years. And we have delivered multiple Gen AI projects within the span of this 1 year. Like around 8 projects we have delivered, enterprise AI projects. And we have delivered multiple migration projects, including ClickView to Tableau migration, ClickView to Power BI migration, and also multiple data engineering, very complex data engineering projects, very complex data analytics projects, and very complex product engineering projects, including the front end engineering, back end engineering, and DevOps. So in this 4 years, we were able to navigate through the latest technologies, and were able to solve problems in a bigger scale.
It's a great achievement, Jagan and Aditya, because you guys started when, when we started our career, like, all the bigger organization, Infi and Wipro,
Yeah.
TCS, they almost occupied all the spaces, right? Isn't it? So for
Yeah.
someone starting post 2015, it was a difficult challenge. The reason being offshoring was already an established thing. Everybody knew about it. So starting from that then and now to reach the employee strength of 450 in India as well as in United States, I think that's a massive achievement what you
Yeah.
guys have done in a short span of time.
And Adi can speak about how he scaled Infisign product, right? With the like I would, so like we have two companies, right? One is Entrans, we have spoke about it. And Infisign, we started with the greater vision of our like, because our competitors are so big in this market. It's a well established industry. Like for example, our competitors like Okta of the world, or Ping Identity, or Microsoft Intra. So we are competing against the giants. But we have built our technology in such a way that Aditya is the key man behind it. He will explain it, but I'll give a small gist about it. If you take in the car industry, Benz, Porsche, BMW can be the biggest brand, but Tesla is the one who does the same driving, but they implemented it in a very different technology and they disrupted the world. That's how like in the identity and access management space, we have used a technology called self-sovereign identity, which is completely a decentralized identity approach. Instead of storing all your millions of records in a centralized server, we store it in a decentralized manner, but achieve the same identity and access management for the workforce identity and the customer identity and access management. And we were able to achieve the same scale. And we are competing with these very large providers. And we are showing a very good competitions for them. And our vision is to become a unicorn in this space, and we are on the track for that.
I'm
Adi, you want
sure you will, Jagan, like, with the passion you guys have. And I was about to ask, and my next question was that only, like, with both companies offering high tech solution in different areas, how do Entrans and Infisign complement each other working on a joint projects?
Yeah. So, the way we look at Suresh again, just like what Jagan was also saying, right? Just wanted to continue that as well. So,
Right.
the problem around how identity and access management is pretty much handled across different spaces, right? So, across say workforce.
I'll just to interrupt you. So you are the brainchild behind creating this particular product, Infisign.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was actually me and Jagan, but Jagan's too kind to just mention my name. But but it's just both of us actually, Suresh. Yeah. So but just a background, right, Suresh? So what happened was me and Jagan used to play around a lot with blockchain technology when it came up, right? So we were extremely intrigued with what was happening around Bitcoin at that particular point, right? And we were also very intrigued about what we are doing with enterprise blockchain, because that was coming up way back in 2016-17, right? And we started doing a lot of work around it, and we even went to we prepared a paper, we prepared a pilot and POC, and we even presented it across the globe, right? So we even flew down to California to present a paper on it. So we were doing a lot of this, and then we built our low code no code blockchain platform way back in 2018, right? And we did this, and at that particular point we felt there was the technology, though it was extremely promising, it had a few inherent flaws in it, right? So you can't put everything on blockchain was the primary flaw, especially when it comes to industries where identity is concerned, right? Just imagine Aditya's entire identity being on blockchain and anyone around the world having an access to it and able to verify it. I mean, that is definitely not the solution, right? So we looked at ways in which you can basically correct this and make this better, and that's when self-sovereign identity is something that we stumbled upon, right? And once we did that, we started learning a lot more on it. We started understanding how personal identifiable information needs to be handled, and so that is something that Infisign works in day in and day out. It makes sure that you as a person do not share unnecessary information for your access requirements, right? For example, if Salesforce tomorrow is asking you for certain information, number one, Suresh should know what information he's sharing, and number two, it should be only that piece of information he shares, right? For example, for you to get into a bar, all you need to show is if you are greater than 18 or 21 years, right? You don't have to show them your date of birth, you don't have to show them your address, you don't have to show anything else, right? So that is something that we worked on as a technology behind Infisign, and that basically can not just open doors to a bar but also open doors to an application, right? So we started integrating with a lot other protocols and all that. Now, coming to your next question, right? So you were asking about how Entrans and Infisign complement each other. So what we do is, Infisign is a proper product company, right? So we are not interested from Infisign. We are not interested in services. So we are here to partner with a lot of system integrators across the globe, right? So Entrans is a system integrator for Infisign. So that's how we partner, right? So internally, what we do is, for any system integration, for any implementation for of Infisign to our customers, we use Entrans, right? And on top of it, there could be a lot more requirements. For example, there could be infrastructure like, some of our clients have complete private networks, right? They don't have anything on public, or sometimes they might have a combination of both public and private networks. So in those cases, we use Entrans to basically jump in, install Infisign on local and public networks, and make it work seamlessly.
Right.
Yeah. So that was it, Suresh. So
And
So,
and
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 adding to what Adi told, right? Apart from that, so business is all about relationship, right? So we get a lot of relationships in the Entrance, and through that relationship, we were able to easily penetrate for Infisign. We can understand the pain points the our customers are facing, and we can easily position Infisign also to them. It's like complementing each other on various ways.
right. And what prompted you to create this product, Infisign?
so
Did you
yeah.
guys come across any areas in day-to-day operational activities where you felt like things could there is a scope of enhancement in this?
Yeah. So, as I was saying earlier, Suresh, the primary thing was how your personal identifiable informations are being dealt with today, right?
Right.
So, for example, we work with one company to basically create, digital credentials on blockchain, right? So they used our platform to basically put all your digital credentials on the blockchain. They said, if you do that, you basically can make it tamper evident and tamper resistant, sorry, and then also make sure that it is easily verifiable, right? But the problem is, why should someone put my grades, my name, my date of birth on blockchain, right? They don't have the rights to do that because it's my personal identifiable information, right? So these are the challenges that exist today, Suresh, that is happening predominantly, that Infisign wants to address. Make sure that all your PIIs are decentralized, stored on your wallet, right,
Right.
and shared only with your consent. And what it does to open doors is, again, what solutions it offers. But then this is the primary thing that we wanted to solve for the market.
And to you both as leaders in technologies and business, how have you adapted your strategies to fit the needs of different international markets? Are there any standout challenges you had to overcome?
So our
For
predominant market is USA, right?
right, right,
So first thing is like we have to understand the US culture, and we have to be very straightforward with the customers. In India, we can talk more, and all those things, but in US, you have to be very straightforward. Hey, I can do this, and you have to be very true in it, right? So like talk the truth, and also be there for them. For example, because their time zone is completely different and our time zone is completely different. So you should not say that no, I will not be available after 10 p.m., right? Because customer can face an emergency at their own time zone, right? Because their time is still 5 p.m. EST or PST, right? So all these things you need to understand if you are going to work with US. So you have to change yourself as a US citizen. If you want an US dollar, then you have to think that you are from US and you are working in US, and then only you will understand their pain point. Then why they have to trust a person who is more than 20,000 miles away. So you should start working on each and every activities that should you know help you to build trust with about your company or about you. So that will help you to retain a long term business from US.
Right. And also, Jagan, do you think our guys are not able to say no on the call, like, on the, while gathering the requirement? Because that is one of the cultural thing, like, which I've also felt it every time, like, we get on a call because of the culture, like, it's very hard for us to say no. I'll share an example. Last night, I had this call with one of my client in the United States from Texas. So it was a Canvas app requirement.
Mhm.
So he was asking a very specific question, and I had to interview him because the developer was not able to say no to that particular thing or
Yeah.
answer that specific question. So I had to intervene, saying that, listen, to the developer, saying that it's absolutely fine. You can say no if you don't know how to do it or you need some more time to research it. So I'm sure, like, when you would have experienced, similar things in your entire career.
Yeah. So that's a hard learning, you have to be always, like, if you can't do it, say no, or tell that, hey, can I do some research, give me 2 days time, get some time, can I research on this, and check with my internal team and revert back if we can able to do it or not. So if you don't want to say no, then at least buy some time to see, check with your team and revert back. Don't try to lie on that.
Yeah, and also you mentioned about building, client relationship. You already invested so much of time before getting the work. Can you share how you build a sustained long-term relationship with your international clients? What strategy
Yeah.
have proven most effective in maintaining trust and loyalty?
Okay.
Any example of a client or a project?
So I'll like tell this, right. So like myself, Aditya, and couple, we travel to US twice, in a year, and we spend nearly 4 months a year there. So what that means is, we visit them, we go and eat with them, dine with them, and then go to their office, understand their culture. So that's our foundation, in building our relationship, right. And then like we also like invite them to our country, right, our office space, and meet their developers, right, because our developers used to work for them. Then they have to understand what their developers are and what culture they are following, what is their like and dislikes. So then like the third thing we used to do is on like understanding the time zone, right. US has three different time zone, each and every customer, like what is their time zone, and so that we can adjust ourselves for that time zone. And and another thing is, like, US customers are more time sensitive. So for example, if you have to start a meeting by a certain time, like you have to be on that time. So even if you are 1 minute delay, they will not accept that. So they are very conscious on the time, because in India, time is not money, but there in US time is money. So everything goes by hourly payment and all those things, right. And you have to also understand the holidays of US, Thanksgiving, and what is Christmas, all these things, you should know that. And know their games. We always go into the next level, like know their games. NFL is the key game there. You have to understand that, baseball, basketball, and golf, right. All these things you should understand and talk their language and know their landscape. Like in US, like what is special in Texas, and what is special in New York, and what is special in California, and what is special in Utah, because all these landscape are different. Like the temperature is different. So US, one key point daily everyone will talk is about weather. You have to know about what weather is going on, because in India, everywhere it is hot, right. So we don't care about weather, but there, they'll have difficult weather. So all these things, you need to know. And then you have to also educate, like how much festivals are so important for Indian people, right. For example, we have to educate them about Diwali. You cannot ask any people to work in Diwali, right. Even whatever emergency it is, or work in Pongal kind of times, right. So these kind of cultural things, we used to educate each other in such a way that we go for a longer term relationship with the customer.
Absolutely. That's good to know that. And also, looking ahead, what trends do you both see shaping the future of offshore development and global business? How are your companies preparing to stay in the competitive, evolving landscape?
Yeah. So the first thing, Suresh, is I think Gen AI has probably started disrupting a lot of industries.
Right.
And the first thing that anyone should basically look at is Gen AI, right? And how will AI have an impact on each of these industries that they contribute to? So that is something that we all have to do. And from what as a trend that that we see in our company as well, and across other companies as well, is offshore development is not just going to be a pure resource augmentation play, and it is going to get difficult in the coming years. It is only because people are basically expecting some kind of a framework before they can offer someone an offshore development, especially in services. So it is very important to have some framework in the area of play that you have. For example, if it is data engineering, you basically will need to have some kind of a key focus area in data engineering where you've already been there, done that kind of a framework you can portray as a skill set. Because if you do not have that, AI is pretty much going to be, it is going to get better than each of the offshore development team or any service provider out there, right? So that is something that everyone, irrespective of what level of service you offer, I think you have to be prepared for. And that is something that we internally in Entrans as well are staying prepared. And we are also making sure that we use AI in our own frameworks to make sure that we are able to have a very strong offering to our clients, so they understand what business value they get by offering that project to us.
So
Right.
adding to what Adi told, right? We use AI in marketing, we use AI in sales, we use AI in development, we use AI in HR, we use AI in finance, we use AI in operations. So all these places, we started adopting AI so that we are reducing our monotonous work and improving our quality of work.
Can you share an example, Jagan and Aditya?
Yeah. So for example, in marketing side, like we use multiple tools for content generation, and give a small personal touch, but more AI is helping us. And for SEO side also, like AI is helping us a lot. And coming up with the new creatives, AI is helping us a lot. And in AI in sales, we are leveraging AI in understanding the customer calls, right? We use multiple tools including fireflies kind of tools, where it can help you to take a notes of each and every call, and then what is the action items about it. And recently, like, we have started one sales tool that can go to the next level in such a way that it can listen to your conversation and try to provide insights in the real time call itself. For example, if we both are talking, and if I missed out some point, it will show a small pop-up, hey, Jagan, talk about this point. So those kind of creative things that we are doing in our sales side. And for development side, like we use co-pilots a lot, GitHub Copilot and other platforms for helping our developers. And again, in all the other fields, right, finance, HR, and operations, we are exploring multiple tools to simplify our jobs.
Right. And Jagan, one of my friend, like was working for TCS. He came up and told me a story that guys have started using AI to write codes, and he can easily figure that out. Listen, this is not what I want you guys to do. Have you encountered any such issues within your organization, Jagan?
See, what, using
And
AI,
I just want to know, like, is it that helpful? Is that helpful?
it is
Like,
definitely helpful, right? See, for example, right, if AI can solve you to write, the important part of coding, all you need to do is, like, connecting the multiple codes is what you need to do, right? So I would say, like, writing your coding, like, you put your 8 hours of effort to write the same code. Instead of that, you spend 10 minutes in getting the help from AI and doing it, like, save the time and do the other things, right? So that's what we used to tell, work smart. And because anyways, if you are not going to do, some other company is going to do. So you have to adapt the technology, you have to embrace the technology, and show the value to the customer.
Yeah. So
right,
adding to what Jagan said, Suresh, I think there is a concept called pair programming, right? So where we put two people in for a particular task, and say so they both can pair and work on a particular task, right? So I see AI like that, Suresh, right? So it is definitely not wrong to use a copilot or use GPT for generating a piece of your code. because GPT will not be able to understand your vision, right? It is you who has to understand it. But most of the code that for example, if you're trying to connect to a database, or you want to understand a particular you want to write a function to convert a date to a particular type or something like that, all of this is all redundant code, right? And you either can basically import a function, or you can actually add a new function which is completely written by GPT. It doesn't matter, right? But why spend time to do it, right? So that's where GPT actually comes in and helps us out.
Fantastic. And what advice would you both give to aspiring entrepreneurs or professionals looking to expand their business internationally, particularly in the technology and offshore sectors?
So, Adi, you want to talk or?
Yeah, I mean, so when it comes to aspiring entrepreneurs, Suresh, so first thing that I would probably tell them is, I'm talking about it on a more product side, and then I'll probably let Jagan talk a bit more about the service side as well.
Sure.
Something that that we've learned, when we were building our product is, getting the right product market fit is a very, very big challenge, right? It is not something that you put on a deck and then you throw it out, right? So it is something that when the rubber hits the road, that's when you start understanding if you've got it right, correct? And so to understand your PMF, have a lot of design customers, work with your design customers, work very closely with them, understand what exactly is their problem, and what features that you offer is actually solving their problem, right? So then you design the messaging precisely based on what exactly is solving the problem. Because since we started off targeting a very established category, so we had to basically start understanding what exact feature of our product is actually solving a particular problem that our competitor is already not solving, right? So which is a very complex story to basically start conveying, right? And start understanding where exactly is the problem, right? So for us to understand and get to the product market fit is a bit of a journey. And most entrepreneurs who get started get too excited in their work, and do not care a lot about PMF, which is actually very, very, very important, is what we've learned in our journey. So that is an advice that I would want to give to aspiring entrepreneurs, right? And I let Jagan probably talk a bit more about services.
Yeah. So, from my side, advice to aspiring entrepreneurs, right? So, like, since I'm I started my entrepreneurship, post, like 1 year or 2 year of my, college passed out, right? Uh, I have, like nearly 11 points to be, talking in this area. So, my first point is, to keep dream daily. You have to dream on like some problem statement that you want to solve, and follow your passion, and also like daily work hard and smart to your fullest. It is not like consistency is more important, right? And the second one is on it is always you have to keep in your mind that entry is not important, exit is important. So what that means is you can have fund in your hand right now. You don't have any source income right now, or any investment right now, but entry is not important. When you exit your entrepreneurship career, what impact you have made in this world, that is what you need to look at. So for this, you need to start soon, fail fast, learn, and repeat this. Never give up attitude. So you have to keep repeating this cycle, right? Start soon, fail fast, learn, and repeat. And then enjoy your failures and learn from it. Don't bring negativity into your mind. Take positive things from your mentors, friends, and even from your enemies. Take the positive things. Even they might be your enemies, but you have to learn from them. No matter what, you can bounce back at any situation. So you have to keep in that mind that don't fear of failure. Accept and learn from your mistake. So this is my second point. And the third one is on your basic character wise. You have to be very bold. You have to be smart, you have to be unique, you have to be a leader, you have to be so passionate, and you have to always think high, and you have to always set high goals. That is the my third point for any aspiring entrepreneurs. And fourth one is you have to be the change. Don't expect anything or anyone or someone will help you to do that change. You have to be the leader and go and do the change. No one will come and change it for you. And the fifth point is on having mentors. Like you should regularly talk to your mentors, because if you talk to a mentor, his 10 years knowledge he can just convert into a small tablet and give it to you in 10 seconds or 10 minutes. So that is the level of 10 years of his positives and negatives, failures, success, all these things he can give an input. You can use it for your or your entrepreneurship career, right? And in the same line, you have to think that you should be your first salesperson. So come out of your shell and talk about your services, talk about your product, and you should be your first salesperson. You should do your first 10 sales. So that is the fifth point. And the sixth point is on share your knowledge to others selflessly and give before anyone asks. So keep this as your foundation. That way, once you started sharing and once you started giving to others, automatically you will receive the missing gaps. When you started sharing, if you are the other party who is receiving it, if they find that something you're missing, they will be filling that gap. Otherwise, you will know only whatever you know, right? So like you have to keep sharing your knowledge. And my seventh point is on believe that change is always good. So you have to always believe that world is going to change daily. Anything is going to change. Whatever you believe in your life, that is going to change. Today this can be the technology, that is not going to save you forever. So embrace the change and be the forefront to lead the change. And eighth point is in a business, in an entrepreneurship, you have to keep up your words. Don't break anyone's trust on you. Keep your commitment and feel free to ask sorry if you make any mistake. And don't do any injustice or injustice to anyone, right? This is the fundamental thing. Ethics you need to carry forward to keep up your words and don't break the trust with anyone. And my ninth point is on always try to set your goals so high and try to achieve big things in your life and keep trying. And don't keep complaining. It is easy to complain or it is easy to give up, right? Don't keep complaining. And be a team player and give credits to your team which they deserve. Like if they achieve something, give the credits to them, appreciate them, and don't worry about any bad critics, or use that critics to fuel your growth. So if someone writes about negative review, if someone talks negative about you, use that as a fuel for your growth. And my 10th point is on hire brilliant people than you and make them work for you for your dream. So that's my 10th point. And my final point is like be consistent in doing whatever you are, right? Be consistent, be persistent, and continuously doing it, because you cannot take a break. So you have to be consistent in whatever you are doing.
That's a very inspiring speech, Jagan. Well, you
Yes,
made some very.
I always close this like, because I always wanted to give it back to the young entrepreneurs who are aspiring to be, and like whatever my 10 years or 15 years of learning, I want to give it in a small tablet. I always say this as my tablet, right? This 10 or 11 points, it's a hard learned lesson for me. So
Well,
that's
absolutely. I mean, to some of the listeners, where Jagan is coming from, he comes from. I mean, we both share the same native. Like, and I just realized that from Tirunelveli
yeah,
districts, like
yeah.
Tiruchendur, and coming out of that, it's very hard for guys like who do their education in rural part of India and move to Chennai or to foreign countries. Because as I think Aditya pointed out, inferiority complex. So most of the guys who come from rural areas have observed. I mean, they're very dedicated, they're very passionate, but still, like getting that first exposure for them compared to people who come from Bangalore or Chennai or Mumbai. It makes it because someone comes from the city side, like he'll always talk well, he'll dress up well, he'll appear good. But coming from remote villages, it's a big challenge. So I think Jagan, that's a very impressive points you made. I really enjoyed listening to that. That's the reason I was quiet. So dream big. What impact you're going to bring to the audience, and never give up. Be bold. be the change. I think that's a very it's an important thing. And having mentor, I mean, do you have any mentor, like, whom you talk to on a regular basis?
Yeah. So my first mentor is my dad's classmate. He's one of the richest man in Houston. He owns a ammonia plant and all those things. He owns private jet and all those things, right? So keeping that aside, I gone to him, and asked, hey, uncle, I'm starting my business. What is advice you want to give me in your life, in my life, right? So
Hmm.
what he told is, Jagan, business, you can do. And he asked a single question, hey, Jagan, what is my greatest asset in my life? He asked me. Then I told, okay, hey, you have, this much wealth and everything, I was telling in the monetizing way. You have a jet, you have a, Porsche car and all those things I told. But he said, no, I have earned 30 peoples in my life. And that is my greatest asset in my life. And they will do anything for me. So when you are starting business, you go and earn people, and making money is just a byproduct. So what you need to do is, you just need to go and make people as friends, do networking. That's it. That is the fundamental of any business. Once you do that, money will automatically come to your kitty.
Do you want to drop his name?
His name is Mr. Michael Anthony.
Michael Anthony is still in the United States, or he's
Yeah,
back in India?
yeah. He's in US.
And you also mentioned about be the first salesperson. So that I completely understand. Like, you guys are completely tech. So even though you come from a tech background, make some changes and try to reach out to the audience as well. So don't restrict yourself. Like, I'm a technology guy. Like, I don't want to reach out to the audience. I don't want to do the
Exactly.
sales. Yeah.
You have to come out of your comfort zone and do
Right.
the sales, because no one is coming to save you, right?
Right.
No one is
Right.
coming to put salary for your employees or for you. You are the one who has to go for hunting. You have to think as you, like a hunter. You have to go and hunt and make the food for your family.
Right.
So you should be the salesperson for your
Abs-
organization.
Absolutely. Another important point you mentioned was being honest. I mean, that's the most critical thing out of all the points you mentioned
Yep.
when interacting with your clients as well as delivering projects, and also setting your goals very high. Fantastic. Aditya, do you want to add something to it? I think you already know everything about Jagan. So for me, like, it's a new lesson or new thing, hearing it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think right from the very beginning, Suresh, I think it was probably when we started off, right? Because I think couple kind of joined a little later. So I remember me and Jagan pretty much being on all the calls, right? And even today, right, for all the critical calls, it'll always be me and Jagan, though we have people to delegate it to, but we still believe, it is very important for both of us to be there on all those calls and set the tone, set the vision right. We still believe, that, I mean, modesty and you have to be the first salesperson for your product or service, right? So that is something that we believe in. And one more thing, adding on to what Jagan was saying, I think, like what he mentioned, right, about people, I think, something that we always looked up is our people, right? I think we are so proud that I'm not sure. I think couple, I think, also mentioned this, right? So the almost all of our employees and people who work in Entrans have trusted us and continued to be a part of us wherever we go, right? Where I mean, so they've just continued working with us, and I think we are just blessed that way that we've earned so many people.
Yeah, I feel tempted to join your company now. If there is an opening, do let me know. Anyhow, on the work-life balance, like, running successful companies can be demanding. How do you both balance the pressure of work and your personal life?
Okay. Number one, Suresh, I think, I mean, this is just my thought. I believe that, see, work life balance is basically a myth, is what I feel, because if you really enjoy what you do, you wouldn't need a lot of break, right? So, something that, when you start building something, it fascinates me so much that, I love what I do, right? So, that's a very different thing. But only thing that matters, I think, is probably, the commitment to your parents, wife, kids, that comes across. So that's when you actually have to, spend time and managing that. Obviously, you need to have a certain days off, I mean, I know that you definitely would have to return to emails and stuff, but then you definitely will have to make time, a specific time for that, and that is something that I do. And apart from that, I really enjoy reading books, and something that for example, if I want my own zone, that's something that I would do. And again, I don't know, for some reason I love cleaning my cars. So that actually calms me down, and it creates a cocoon for me. So yeah.
Really? Cleaning your car calms you down?
Yeah, it does.
That's the most painful thing for me, man. I hate it.
No, I love doing that. I get a lot of these accessories for cleaning and stuff when I use it. It kind of like calms me down.
I I do all the time, and I purchased, what do you call that, the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah,
And everywhere you go, like, you go to Shell petrol pump or any mall, like, they offer so many products, and I've purchased so many stuff. I don't know what to use for, like, which one to use for what purpose. Some for shining, some for cleaning the, what do you call that, the shade, the glasses, and interior. Cleaning the seat. So I kind of give up. And once in a month, like, I have the subscription. Once in a month, they do this polishing stuff and all. So that's very interesting. And how about you, Jagan?
Yeah, so work life balance, right? So I'll take, I'll point it out from one of my mentor, like he's my mentor and my role model, from Mr. Suresh Samandam, from Kisflow. He is running his initiative called, Dream Tamil Nadu. So when we asked the same question, because Suresh was so busy with this product company that is a very successful company, Kisflow, and he runs a platform called, Dream Tamil Nadu Idea Patrai, and he is mentoring more than 1,000 plus startups, and he travels across Tamil Nadu because he wants an inclusive, entrepreneurship in all, or mass entrepreneurship across Tamil Nadu. So he travels, every weekend there, Velur, Coimbatore, right? So I used to travel with him as a project director in Idea Patrai. So when we asked this question, he used to tell, in your free time, what you will do? I'll watch TV. Why you watch TV? Because I like watching TV, or relaxing my mind. Then he used to tell, talking to young entrepreneurs is my relaxation, is my I feel so relaxed when talking to this. So that's why I'm doing this. So what that means is, once you think that your passion is part of your life, and that makes you happy, do whatever it's making you happy is what we need to do, right? So that's what focusing on my business, or talking to my customers, or acquiring new business, thinking about like what to do next, like where is my goal. So if I keep thinking, I feel like so happy and so relaxed, then I'm repeating that, right? So that is my work life balance. And then definitely other thing is, I always don't want to do some monotonous job. So I always try to delegate a lot of works and prioritize. I'll do only the priority works. Rest all we'll delegate. And again, I'll be more flexible on my schedules. Sometimes my customer wants me to be there in 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. Like I'll be flexible on that time. But I'll continue for another 8 hours sleep. Then I'll wake late. So all these things, and I'm a little bit flexible in such a way that I'm accommodating my business and my work life balance also.
Fantastic. And what has been your proudest professional or personal accomplishment to date? What did achieving that milestone mean to you on a deeper level?
Yeah.
It
So
could be any particular project,
yeah.
or
So
anything
my
at all.
like with no other background, we were able to grow our first company to 120 employees. And when it got acquired by a $8 billion conglomerate group, that was, I felt okay. I have achieved something big. But on the same time, I also think that, always think that, I should not have gone for that acquisition. I should have grown my company to the next level. So but one thing, out of that achievement is, you know I got a 3 years of like, then once the acquisition was over, I was there working as a CTO there. At that time, I used to sharpen my axe. What are the missing pieces, and what is my next step in my career, and what is the right team for us to build the next big thing. So those 3 years is the my takeaway of that particular first accomplishment. So that is my uh, thing which I want to highlight.
Aditya, how about you? Anything that comes to your
Yeah,
mind?
for me, Suresh, again, as I started off saying, right, so I used to limit myself as to what to talk and what ideas to basically convey and all of that. But but there was one point in my career where I started like putting all my skills in front, and I started this thing. And there was one project, it was. It's okay for me to even tell the client name. It was KFC.
Hmm.
So we had like competition from all the biggies in the world, right? So we had like Cognizant, we had Wipro, and we had like so many clients, so many vendors who were trying to compete for that particular project, and we were able to win it, right? And so we did a lot of. I personally did a lot of contribution for that particular project, and that was one of my it was not like a great accomplishment or an award that I got, but it was something that I needed it at that particular point of time to prove to myself that I can do it, right? So yeah, so that was one turning point in my life, I would say.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jagan and Aditya, for giving your time today. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure, we're going to have another episode with you both very soon. Thank you so much, guys. It means a lot.
Absolutely. Thanks, Suresh. Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Jagan.
you, Suresh.
Perfect.
And that's a wrap for today's episode. A big thanks to our guest and to you for tuning in. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps us bring more awesome episodes. For more update, visit our website at onsiteandoffshore.com and do follow us on social media. Stay tuned for more exciting content in the coming weeks. Until next time, this is Suresh Ashok signing off. Take care and keep thriving in your offshoring journey.